Hello and welcome. I've got a new book review for English teachers who are looking at becoming material writers, and this is the third and final book review for ELT Teacher to Writer. And the book that I'm going to be reviewing is this one, How to Write Exam Preparation Materials. Obviously I've reviewed two other books, so you can have a look in the previous videos to see how those books were reviewed, and I would also recommend that you look at those other books as well. Now, Roy is writing this book and it's aimed for those aspiring materials writers who want to become exam writers. And exam writers are those that try and write materials for examinations or for exam preparation materials. And there's a lot of good information included in this book. So the first chapter that you come across after being introduced to Roy Norris and his background to English language teaching and examining is the key aims for the book. And you can see that the basic aims for this book include 5 points. The first point is to provide an overview of the similarities and the differences between exam materials and general materials. The second aim for this book is to provide the reader with an insight on how exam materials are written and prepared. The third aim for this book is it gives some great advice on how to write exam preparation materials. The fourth aim for this book is to provide some time-saving tips for writing exam materials. The final point of this book is it encourages the reader to critically review and analyse exam materials. As with the previous two books that I reviewed, it follows the same format that you may expect now. So there are a number of tasks included in the book, and there's also footnotes included at the bottom of each page, and these footnotes combine towards a glossary at the end of the book as well. After the initial introduction and the aim is provided for the reader, you are then introduced to the first chapter. The first chapter itself looks at writing exam materials versus general materials. Roy introduces the differences of both materials and then some similarities between both. The second chapter of the book looks at how vocabulary and grammar is incorporated into exam materials writing. Obviously, it makes sense for students to try and become accustomed to the type of questions that they may encounter in a particular exam. And what Roy does here within this second chapter about vocabulary and grammar is he recommends the reader to think about the format and the style of questions that students will be training and preparing for. The third chapter itself looks at writing listening exam style materials. There's certain question styles which are included within this chapter which are recommended when you come to write exam style questions, and also there's a variety of tasks as with the previous chapters that are included within the listening chapter. Towards the end of the chapter, the author incorporates some time-saving tips that the reader can incorporate when they're writing listening exam style materials. But there's also some further considerations for the reader. Further considerations suggested include scripting a listening, reading the script out loud, as well as considerations for writing for a particular national or international exam. Chapter 4 looks at reading in the context of exam writing materials. As with the previous chapters, there's some considerations provided within this particular reading chapter, and there's also some advice about authoring reading materials. There's some good points made about the register of the language as well as the range of the vocabulary which is considered suitable for the particular exam that you're authoring. Chapter 6 looks at speaking, and the variety of tips included within this chapter is very, very important. If you think about speaking exams, there's a variety of images which are used within particular exams to prompt discussion or prompt speaking. And what the author does within chapter 6 is recommends particular websites that material writers could look at and consider viewing when it comes down to searching for images to accompany a speaking test. After the speaking chapter, there's the next chapter which looks at the tasks for the book. And each task is provided with a commentary and some suggestion on particular answers. In total, there are 11 tasks included within this chapter. But the first task itself is more of a self-study task, so there's no provided answer given. Within this chapter, there's only tasks 2 to 11. As you would expect, after the commentaries of tasks, there's also a glossary of all the terms within the book. One thing that I would really like to see within not just this book but all other publications is including the name of the chapter at the top, at the header of the page, because it's quite a long book. You have to try and go through the pages to encounter the chapter that you're actually reading. Again, it's a very suitable book for those material writers that want to write exam style materials or preparation course books for students and teachers. It gives a lot of ideas to the reader or aspiring authors to consider when writing and authoring material. A huge thanks to ELT Teacher to Writer publishers for sending this over. I really enjoyed reading this book, and it gave me some ideas and some things which seem obvious but things that you don't really consider when you're writing exam materials. Thank you ever so much. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and please leave a comment if you have a question about this book here. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. As always, take care, stay safe, and happy teaching. Bye bye.